Oh, look how
Man.
handsome. Look how
Ready to
handsome.
go.
He looks like he looks
He
presidential.
does.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm excited. I'm feeling great. You know what's funny? I was just drawing the parallels to the Phillies weekend and Phillies last 3 days in Washington, right? Where you pull games out the ninth inning and you get hot. Bryce Harper says we're coming, and it reminded me of 3.9%. And March comes around, and all of a sudden, you start to play real good hockey. And this is the beauty of sports. And then you get hot, and it takes you through beating the Penguins. Like, that's the beauty of it. And 3.9% became a real kind of thing. It came a thing in the room, it came a thing all around you guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think the guys kind of rallied around that underdog mentality, and now it becomes even more challenging because now the expectations are raised, and the players have to meet those expectations and continue to develop, continue to get better. We don't make that run if our young guys aren't contributing to our success. Including Martone jumping in there at the end of the year. So you're always looking for those guys to take the next step, and that's going to be critically important for us this year as it starts to ramp up a little bit more.
Do you foresee? I mean, obviously, this already moves are happening, and it's fake rumors are everywhere. I mean, this is fun, but do you foresee like something significant, or like you over the next few days?
Yeah,
Into-
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, how it is with us. If you're reading it, it's probably not happening.
Right.
So that's just the way it works. Whatever we're doing, we keep quiet. And I can't think of too many instances where the rumors were what happened so far. So
Right.
we look at everything. As you know, Danny's, working the phones all day, every day, especially this time of year and also at the trade deadline. But yeah, we're just – we're in a better position than we've been in the previous 3 years because we've accrued a lot of talent, a lot of young players that have value. So it's definitely different for sure. But patience is still something that we think a lot about because we have some young players that I think have some really high ceilings that maybe some others haven't recognized yet. But we believe in our guys.
Do you well, a couple of things. One, what's the process this time of the year with everything going on? You have your draft, right? Then you have all the opportunities and the calls that Danny, like, are you guys meeting, a couple times a day? Like, you're always together, but like, are you constantly having these discussions? What's the process like?
Yeah, it's continual because you don't know when that call comes. The phone rings and somebody has a different idea. And then it's a matter of picking through the truth. They may ask about a certain player, but they really want another one.
Right.
And that takes a few days to go through that process. So, yeah, there's a lot of.
Then you got agents.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot behind the scenes that happens. There's just a lot. There's a lot to it that you have to, kind of take in the information and then try to see what works for you and then come to an agreement on something that in most cases ends up being fair for both teams. If you're going in to try to win every trade, you're not going to make very many trades.
Right.
So it's about relationships and yeah, those are the things that really come into play when you're trying to, get a trade to make your team better. At the same time, you're not always looking to hit a home run because if you're doing that, you're not hitting many.
So how do you view this draft, right? Because obviously it's completely different than the position that you guys have been in with higher picks.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of thinking that goes into it with the work that our scouts have put in throughout the season. And if you're scouting for the Flyers based on last season, there's multiple months in the season where you thought you were in a certain area, that potentially a top 10 pick, to now you're in the latter part of the, starting in the 20 range. So I'm sure they've ran the gamut. Plus there's been trades happening with, some of the lower picks. That's usually an indicator that people don't think the draft is stacked. When you see those picks moving as frequently as they have. And that was kind of our expectation last year. The value of the future pick in our eyes, that's why the Lawton pick ended up being in 27.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our guys, believed that this draft was not going to be as strong as last year's. And rumor is that 27 is going to be a heck of a draft. And
Yeah.
20 and 28 might be the same. So, yeah, so I don't think it has the strength of last year's or the depth to it, but I do think there's some really good players there. And I think there's a lot of different scenarios that could happen from 11 to 30. I mean, it's that wide open. So you have your idea on who you would like to get at that part. You're open-minded to other scenarios that come in from other teams. And by the time you get to where we're going to pick, somebody could be aggressively trying to jump up to that point too, and we might be able to benefit in that regard. So you're looking at everything. Danny's looking at it all. He's got a lot of good people helping him. Brent Flair does a great job in managing our draft, and there's a lot of communication. So just trying to get it right.
Well, what have you speaking of get it right? I mean, the whole run was just magical. It feels so good. What happened? How do you manage expectations? And listen, I still got chills after that Saturday night game 4 against Carolina, and the fans are cheering. They're not leaving. Let's go Flyers! And I get chills. I think about it, and it was awesome. How do you then go from that moment and manage expectations? Because you said it earlier, like patience has to be a part of your thinking.
Yeah, so that was obviously a great moment and much appreciated by our players. And from a managerial standpoint, from us as well, our fans are awesome. I think it was really important for our players to see that and want more of it. That's my take on a personal level. I just want more. I want us to be better. I want us to continue to experience those types of moments. But I also recognize that's not the way it works. Like we have to produce. And from a standpoint of, asset management, grabbing players at the right time, we've got to be sharp. This is a very difficult league. And everyone who missed the playoffs last year is trying to make the playoffs this year. It's not a league where we have a bunch of teams now that are trying to finish last. That's not where the league's not in that spot now. Chicago's desperately trying to get better. There's a lot going on where everyone's trying to push for the playoffs. So it's a challenge. We have to match that and be ready for anything, but also make sure that we're doing what's best for our franchise in the future, because we don't just want to be a visitor. We want to be around, and we want to be in the playoffs for a long time. And that's the challenge for us this year. But the experience was awesome, and I believe our young guys are going to benefit from that. So I was really happy about a lot of what happened in the latter part of the year, but I also recognize how important it is for us to meet expectations and do a great job in trying to continue to push our players forward.
Do you think last year also was a message to the rest of the league about the Flyers being back? Like I think there was like a cool kind of moment nationally, like within the league, like, hey man, Flyers are back. Like, and I think that's good when you're out recruiting players, looking to, bring guys in, that the Flyers are becoming a destination again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And then when people watch the playoffs, which most hockey players do, they recognize just what a great scene that was, throughout every one of our home games, and the ratings on TV were through the roof, and especially in the first series, and even on in the Carolina series, where the league was, setting records on people watching, including players. So there's no question that has changed. We are not on players' no trade lists, where we were for the majority of the first 2 years that we were here. So I think talk has a lot to do with that too. He's very popular amongst players in the league. They they gravitate towards him. So that's a pretty cool benefit of having a coach that's been around, that's coached some of the, or been an assistant coach at least with the Four Nations Canadian team, the Canadian Olympic team. That's where players are watching. They talk to each other. So that's a benefit. That's a side benefit. But if you don't make the playoffs and our fans don't do their part, then I think the players are less likely to want to come to a city that's enjoying and getting behind their hockey team. And I think that's what we experienced. I think we benefit from that.
Yeah, like you bring up talk, and you know what I love? Like I was talking to him recently, and he was bringing up, hey, like we're always about like keeping things fresh for the guys. For this generation, like you need to have things always kind of freshened up. You don't want anything stale, from messaging to the way it looks in the cafeteria. And like there's a relatability with him, with players that that I think is a big deal. Like I think that's something that really kind of helps the whole process thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And he has that type of relationship with his players. They'll fire him a text in the summer and then, middle of a Monday morning just to check in and say hello. Like it's pretty cool to see that. And I do think that kind of spreads throughout the league too, that he's, open to, talking to them about anything. And that's really cool. These are young guys that are just trying to,
Yeah.
so in many cases trying to establish themselves in the National Hockey League. So it does matter that, who coaches your team matters. And we have a good one.
So we did this last year, like we do it every year. What have you learned about your group, like about your roster? What have you learned in this past calendar year about them?
A lot of really good and encouraging things. I mean, you saw the year that Trevor had last year coming over for Anaheim right around this time, I believe, is when that trade officially went through. I think you probably interviewed him right around this time,
Yeah.
around the draft, right?
Yep.
And he's done, some really great things for us. So we're really pleased about, our patience and waiting for that trade to, happen. So he's a guy that really did an outstanding job. Martone, obviously, last year wasn't a part of this until this day was over, the draft, a year ago. And then he was a part of it, which I am still shocked today that he was there at 6.
I know.
Yeah.
That kid. My
Yeah.
God. You know what you love about him too? Like he's working after practice. He fit and
Yeah.
he didn't shy away from anything. Like he gets acclimated in one game, and then all of a sudden he's like prominent on the ice.
Yeah.
What a mentality that kid has.
So those are the things that are going to allow us to move forward. Players like him, of course, he's an exceptional player. Jack Berglund from the 24 draft at pick 51 is going to be a very important player for us. Knubel was in that 23 draft in the 4th round. He's going to play. Don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's 3 months from now. He's going to play. Barkey's from that draft as well. Michkov in the 1st round of that draft. Bonk is going to play. I mean, it's going to be a pretty impressive draft by the time that we look back on it in a few years. That's what you're looking for. And then last year's draft, I believe, is going to be similar in that regard. Different players that fit into the puzzle of the team and different roles are all starting to, filter through the organization. And that's what you want. So it's pretty cool. It's great. But there is no, we're not going to do something, to win the day. We're trying to win for a long time. So that's the way I think that our mindset is. And if something blows us away and works for us, and we believe it's the right thing to do, that's going to keep us, a contending team, through the playoffs and having a chance to do great things, then we'll obviously pay a lot of attention to it. But we have a lot more depth than we had when we arrived, and we have a lot more cap space than we had when we arrive. So it's coming. We're getting there.
How did you you brought Beach Cuff, and obviously, we know the whole story. How did you leave it with him, and how do you feel? You feel good moving forward? You
Feel
guys
great
in a
about
good
it.
spot?
Feel great. Yeah, feel great about it. And I think we're really going to benefit from a challenging year. So I'm a big believer in the kid, as you know. So we'll see where it goes, but I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I mean, the whole and the, I think what like fans have just enjoyed like this part of the journey is fun. Like when you get
Sure.
behind a young team with young talent, because like you never know when Martone's going to pop, right? Like you get a guy like that, and all of a sudden, and then you've done a great job like sprinkling in, the Zegras move was great by you and Danny, and I love Wall. Like getting Wall, like it takes a lot of pressure off of Ladar. You don't have to burn him out. You got a legit, 1B goalie.
Yeah, he's good. He's very good. You guys are going to enjoy him.
Yeah.
We're very happy to have him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. It's great. You start to, because you have more depth throughout your lineup, you're able to do some things like that. Unfortunately, the goalie market is never overly expensive for some reason. As important as the position is, if you're patient, you can find guys that fit what you're trying to do. And Waller fit that description. So we're very happy to have him as, part of the team. And then Benoit fits a certain part of it as well. He's a great skater. He's a very good penalty killer. He's an awesome teammate. And he's very good friends with Joseph Wall too. So those are the type of people that we want. He also was with Trevor and Jamie in Anaheim before he went to Toronto. So he fits. He's another piece of the puzzle. Should not be forgotten in that trade. He'll be a good flyer.
You think Juracek is primed to kind of take that role?
Yeah, it's for us. It's a player that we believe in, and we think that he's going to. He's obviously got very good offensive abilities, power play potential without a doubt, and then we have to develop the other aspects of his game. But like any young player, especially defenseman, it takes time. Look at Darren Radish. He's 30 years old. He just had his first really good year in the NHL.
Yeah.
Okay, and Juracek is what, 22?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's got 8 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Be like Darren Radish. Like there's not a rush. You have to be patient with these kids.
Yeah.
And, Brinker we loved, but he was in a position where we have a lot of wingers. So he was expendable, and, wish him nothing but the best. It's always tough moving players that we have a great relationship with our guys. Our guys don't want to leave. Now, when we got here, that wasn't the case. And it was also the case that players didn't want to come. So there's a shift here. Okay. Our guys are upset when they're leaving, and we're upset that they're leaving, but we recognize that it has to happen. And that's part of it. And the other part is the ones who are coming are excited to be coming here.
Well, I think culture. You're talking
really
about
important.
you're talking about culture.
Yeah.
Like
whatever
one of
the word
things that you guys did, I think, have accomplished. Like obviously, you're still checking off pieces, but
Sure.
one of the things that you've accomplished, which I think is a really big deal, is culture. Like the idea of what a flyer is supposed to be, and what kind of how we look at ourselves.
Yeah. Well, culture is used all the time. That's fine. It's really how you treat people and how you want to be treated and how everyone treats each other. So, when we move a guy like Garnet Hathaway, it's upsetting to us because we love Garnet, and it's not an easy, decision to make, but we can't keep everybody. Now, when someone makes a fair offer like Florida did, we have to do it. But is the phone call easy to Garnet? No, it's not. And it's hard for him. So that's what you want. When you send D'Lo to Carolina and help him extend his career, he's part of a Stanley Cup championship, and he has 2 more years in his contract to be able to continue to play, we're happy about that. Like, we're not happy that he was in Carolina and they beat us. We're happy for him as an individual that he's able to, continue to play and do his thing that he wasn't going to get the opportunity here to do, which shows that we're internally growing, which is great. And those guys are leaving here with nothing but great things to say about the organization. And that's how the word spreads. So they're little things, but they go a long way in the big picture.
Do you guys are constantly looking at trends in the league and all, like what did the playoffs, what did Carolina, what does that mean for the league itself and kind of, looking at how to build your team?
Yeah, it's that's 8 years of playoff hockey put into one run.
Yep.
They earned it with their patience and their, very smart, subtle moves that they made. They did it without a whole lot of star power. They had one guy that was picked in the top 5. That was Svechnikov, and he had his struggles. So when you look at it, it's another thing that you have to analyze and study. We played them 8 times last year. We went to overtime 6. Okay. But we weren't close. That's what we have. So that's what we have to figure out. Okay. Now, are they the team to beat next year? Yeah, for the first day, because they won. But there's other teams that are loading
the team
up.
that didn't make the playoffs last year. It just got Brady Tkachuk,
Yeah. And he's traded within his division.
Yeah.
So like the league, that's where the league's going. And the players are getting more power. Yeah. So you have to treat your players right. They can dictate a lot of how long they stay and where they go these days. So you have to work with them.
The other good thing too is like when you're looking at progress and improvement, if you think about it, if you just improve the power play itself, like that alone will help propel, right? When you think about it, something like that aspect of, of if you can just get the power play better, that's going to help you. Like you
could look at it that way for sure. There's little areas that you can improve, right? And obviously that's one that we want to improve on. But does that guarantee we finished 20th in the league in power play?
Right.
That'd be a nice, it would feel a lot better than being at the bottom. But does that guarantee we're in the playoffs? No, it doesn't. So there's a lot more that goes into it, but there's no question that there's a focus on improving the power play, but that was the same focus going into the last couple of years too, and we didn't accomplish that. So that's something that's a focus for us, but it's not something that's taken over every day of our lives.
My brother, listen, this is great, man. I'm excited. Like it's funny. Every day we talk about it. Like, hey, what's going on? It's off season. And we're locked in, like the town's locked in to your off season, which is a huge accomplishment, man. This is awesome, brother.
We appreciate it. Yeah. And we recognize it's a big responsibility too. So we're going to do our part to try to keep this thing going in the right direction. And, I think we're in good hands with Danny. I feel confident about it.
Oh,
Hilf's there to keep an eye on all of us. So it's good. He's the man.